All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Verses and Vibes with Thinker and Bash. Bash, guess what?
What's going on?
We only 85 more subscribers away from 1,000. We're
85
at
more. Let's get it, man. Let's get
80.
it.
We got 915.
Love that. Shout out to
Yes.
the subscribers one time. Thank y'all so much for
What's
what you're
up
doing.
with Yeah, thank y'all so much. Thank you, TT, for all of the promoting that you be doing to help us get those numbers up. I appreciate you 100%. We appreciate you 100%.
Absolutely.
I was asking you if you heard the lady last night on the live who said that we can't understand the Bible because the Bibles that we read come from Walmart.
Okay.
And she said that she has a Bible that's passed down in her family from generation to generation, right?
Okay.
So I was asking her, like, I pulled up greekcenter.org, like I always do, to try to go to like the oldest copy of the scrolls that we have,
Yeah.
right? And, she said that what she has is older than that.
Okay.
And so I asked her if she could read what she has, and she said yes. So I said,
Okay.
what language is it in? Guess what she said?
English.
No. I promise you, you'll never guess the language she
Telugu.
said it's in. Huh?
Telugu.
Uh-uh.
What language?
Language.
What language?
Language.
Be more specific.
Like language. That was
Yeah.
her answer.
Okay.
That was her answer. That and then I clarified. I said, yes, but what language? She said, in language. It's written in language. That was her answer.
What's the language called?
She said it's called language.
Okay. Did she read you any of it?
She said she can't because it's too holy. And but she did said that she would be privileged to have me come to her state, and she would show me the book because preachers have tried to steal it from her, and her
Uh-huh.
mama made them give it back. Preachers come to her house to look at the book, but she would be privileged if I come to her state and let her show me the book. And I asked her, I was like, does that make sense to you that I would fly to a state to see a woman that I don't know, to see a book that you are saying is written in language?
Yeah. What state you want you to fly to? The state of insanity?
I don't know, but you know Russell,
Uh-huh.
he was in the comments co-signing her ass, talking about don't cast your pearls before the swine. And so I asked him, I was like, Russell, like, are you literally saying right now that this lady is dropping pearls?
Okay. Okay.
I
Are we okay? Are
I
we
don't
okay, guys?
like, and then this is the crazy crap that like they want you to think that their nonsense is logic and then logic is nonsense. Like this is just another thing that I have like observed. They
Yeah.
co-sign each other's nonsense.
Lies.
Yeah. And then he's talking about
Foolishness.
I want to fly there and see it. You go ahead, waste
Go
your
ahead.
money
Yeah.
and fly there. And like this is and I was saying like this is why I could never be a believer because you just have to believe anything. Like
Sure. Any damn thing. People just be saying shit.
the book is written in language.
Okay. Language is crazy. Language is heavy work. I ain't gonna even lie. That's nasty doing, son. Nasty.
And then not you like, okay, but what language?
Yeah. 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 What language are we talking about? What? Language is crazy. Wow. Wow.
Never did I ever think like it's so crazy. And then she kept saying, we weren't the slaves. We were kings. Black people were kings and queens. And then she would go, I never said that. She said God ended slavery with the 10 commandments.
with the Ten Commandments. There's not a there's slavery in the Ten Commandments.
So I took her to that and I read that and she goes, I never said that. I never said that he ended slavery with the 10 commandments. So I said, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Since we're streaming to YouTube, I'm gonna replay it so you can hear yourself saying it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, and you're going to deny it. You're going to say, that ain't me. I didn't say that. And she did exactly that.
Okay. See,
And the Christians were in the comments. She didn't say that. Y'all literally just heard me play it twice. And y'all still in the comments and you still on stage saying you didn't say it?
sometimes I wonder if it's like a real like disorder. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I don't want to be mean to somebody when they're really having a disorder. You feel like, but then I'm like, or are you just pathological? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you in a different world, right? Like, are you literally like, you're not here with us, or are you just a liar? And it's crazy that is the. You ever heard C.S. Lewis's term where he talk about Jesus, where he calls him, he either has to be a lunatic, a liar, or the Lord.
No.
That's like old C.S. Lewis' statement about Jesus, that he was either a lunatic, a liar, or the Lord. And that plays in my head a lot when I hear people talk like that. Like either you are out of your mind, like really just off your shit, or you're lying and you know that you're lying. I can't even give you the Lord one because you won't even go like.
It felt like gaslighting. Like once we played it back, like it'd
Yeah,
be different if she said, "Oh well, I didn't realize I said it." Right? If she
yeah.
just kind of
I
played
didn't
it.
mean it that way or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
but like it felt like gaslighting. Like she continued to gaslight, and like what I what I realized is that when they say, "Why you so angry? Why you yelling?" and it's like they don't realize that when they gaslight, when they intentionally manipulate, or when they lie to you, it feels like abuse, right? It feels like an attack on the mind, right? It feels like you are just, I don't know. It feels like a attack of trust, right?
yeah,
Um, and then realizing that this is, you're not only doing this to me, you're doing this in front of over 1,000 people. There were like 1,100 people in the room, so you're doing this to over 1,100 people, and then it makes me think about who you do this to in your everyday life.
that's what I be wondering. Like, do you only do this when it's concerning this topic, or like that's why we want to know? Like, is it just like spiritual delusion, like just like a delirium that you're going through specifically about this, or is this the way you carry on about everything?
Hmm.
Because that's crazy.
They're really skilled at it, and so if they don't recognize that they're doing it with this, do they recognize that they're doing this, with their children, to make their children feel like, oh, they owe them, uh, make their children feel like they're crazy if their kids come to them and say, "Mom or Dad, this thing that you said or did hurt me," and then are they manipulating and gaslighting their kids to try to make them remember it differently? You know?
Man, that's the
Yeah.
creepy part. Or are they just saying, I got the right to do that because I'm such and such? What? Like,
Yeah.
that's a really, really weird situation. That's weird.
And then it made me go a little bit further and think about black women being called angry black women, because they always ask me in the comments, why are you so angry? Why is this lady so angry? And I don't have a problem with saying I'm angry because of this behavior here,
Yeah,
right? And it's like that's how they treat black women, because we've been gaslit in this society, right? We've been promised things, let down. We've been told that things that happened to us didn't really happen or it didn't matter, right? By
yeah,
society, by the government, by our leaders, by our husbands, our fathers, our sisters, our mothers, by our neighbors. Like we've just been completely gaslit.
yeah,
And they that whole angry black woman trope is like, oh, don't get upset at me for attacking you or for harming you. You have no right to show emotion when I'm being intentionally dishonest with you, when I'm trying to mess with your experience, your reality. You don't have a right to be triggered by that. You don't have a right to tell me to stop. Like right now, there are two Christian men in my DMs. I have had to type in all caps, "Leave me alone," but they won't, and they keep saying you are evil because I'm saying I don't care who you serve,
Yeah,
right? Leave me alone. This is
yeah,
stalkerish behavior. You are evil, blah blah blah. Because I won't let you cross my boundaries, that makes me evil, right? That makes
yeah,
me lost because I won't let you cross my boundaries. And I feel like that has happened to Black women um, in society. Like it just to me, it just feels and looks and sounds the same with what they say to us on the stage because we respond to their manipulation tactics the way we respond.
yeah. I'm losing my patience for stuff like that. I had a couple people try to treat me similar to that yesterday. I just hang up on them. I don't. I can't do it. Like I'm in a good space in my life right now. I just can't. I'm like,
Yeah,
nah, I'm not doing this, chief. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this button and
yeah.
you know, fight for your life in the comments. But I'm not gonna do this. I'm not doing it.
And
I can't.
it feels like though for like Black women that we have to now is the time for us to speak up and raise awareness to this behavior for us. Like cuz we've swept shit like this under the rug for so
Mm-hmm.
long, right? And we've taken the high road for so long. And I think it's time for us to say, look at this, right?
Yeah,
We're not dealing with this anymore. This is what you're doing. Here's what it looks like to other women who possibly can't see or don't know how to put a name to it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think we just we're at a time where we have to kind of like scream at the top of our lungs
Gotta
and
tell
say
them.
enough is enough.
Yeah, gotta tell them. Gotta tell them. I've been talking about screaming a lot for the last couple of days. Uh, this kind of off subject, but I was talking to a friend of mine. We were talking about music, and and I was saying that um, a lot of times when I listen to people's music, like the writing will be good, but when I hear them sing it, it doesn't emote very well.
Hmm.
Like the lyrics will be great, but they don't. A lot of people just don't deliver them very well because they're just so used to singing so cool. And I'm like, I just want to hear you scream. Like if you're really upset, just be upset, right? And then like a day after that, Kendrick dropped. He was like, "Mustard!" I was like, "Yeah, like that."
See, yeah, and
Yeah.
like I think men can do that, but if women do it, they'd be like, "What the hell
Nah,
is wrong with
scream,
her?"
scream. My favorite part. You seen Avatar? You seen Avatar?
Hmm.
My favorite part of that movie was when they was running. They was running away from the invaders, and she just stopped and just screamed. And that scream sits in my head like rent free. I think about that scream all the time. And sometimes you just got to do it. Like you just got to make some noise, right? And I think that's totally okay. I think that's totally fine. And I think uh, like that was a real changing point in that movie. Like you knew, oh, she's serious, right? Like sometimes you just got to scream. You can do that. I support that 100%.
No, I
Cause
appreciate that because I'm not about to let them keep doing this to me.
yeah,
Not like I can only control how they treat me.
yeah,
But if I can be, support for other women in their in their lives to let them know that hey, if you feel like you have the courage or the confidence to go ahead and scream and say not no more or stop,
yeah.
let me be support for you in that because I'm not taking it no more.
Yeah, scream. Yeah, I feel like people just need to do it. Like, yeah, get it off your chest. It just helps.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't take you. They take your soft voice as like uh, invitation to try to overpower you. And it's like nah, not
That's why
having
they
that.
don't like me because when they be trying to like overpower me, they be like, why are you raising your voice? Because you're talking while I'm talking. And I
You're right.
have to raise my voice for my voice to be heard over yours.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
But they don't like that. And that abusive people don't like people who fight back against their abuse. And that's typically what it is. So
Yeah,
I,
yeah. Nah, so I'm 100% in support of that because fuck them. That's why. Yeah, like yeah, all the gaslighting shit got to stop. It happens so often. Like it happens so often. You just like, bro, you heard yourself. You definitely said what I said. You said. Like I'm not gonna make that up about you. Here it is. Here's you saying this thing. Like,
Right?
here you
Yeah.
are saying this thing. Don't lie to me. Right? Like, yeah, yeah. My voice big anyway, so yeah. But I'm tired. You get tired. Like you just get like it's just tired. Like, come on, man. Tell the truth. We can't get nowhere with a lie, right?
Mm-mm.
Just tell the truth.
But for some reason, lies seem to be the thing that most people will let. Like, look how many people voted for Donald Trump. They
Mm.
they're like, lie to me, lie to me, lie to me, and then they want to cry about the lie later on.
Cry about it.
Ain't that crazy? Like, how dare you show me the truth before somebody lied to me so that I can feel victimized when I find out that they lied? Like, you're taking away my moment of victimization by telling me the truth up front, by trying to warn me. That's why free will is so important to them, if you think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So sick of free will. So sick of free will. Oh my god.
Oh, it is so crazy. They're not gonna let that go. That's their power.
Oh my god. Free will. Oh my god. It, anything that answers everything don't answer nothing.
Thank you. That's good. Did you make that up?
I heard that before.
Oh,
If
that's
anything
good.
that answers everything that don't answer nothing, bro. Like that can't be the answer to everything. If it is, it ain't the answer to nothing.
They literally depower their God with free will.
Yeah,
They
that's
they have they're almost at the point to where they're admitting that their God has no power here.
I've heard him say that he can't do this and that, and he can't interfere. You basically made him powerless.
Yeah, yeah, they're almost at that point. But are you ready
I
to
am.
get to Isaac and Abimelech? Okay, so the reason why I asked if you had time today is because you know how the Christians will come in and say that Genesis 3:15 is a prophecy for Jesus.
Yeah.
I think I found something in Genesis 26 that's not necessarily a prophecy about Jesus, but it's more so talking about the um, enmity between the Israelites and the Philistines.
Okay.
And I think that's what Genesis 3:15 is about, but we can see.
Okay.
Okay.
We're just
Uh,
26.
I mean, yeah, Genesis 3:26 is what we're talking about today, but Genesis 3:15 where the God says, "I'm gonna put enmity between the woman
You get the
seed and the
circle.
serpent seed."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about the Israelites and the Philistines in the land of Canaan,
Okay.
with them, battling over the land, going into peace treaties, disallowing those peace treaties, um, like breaking the covenants that they made with the Philistines between Abraham and Isaac, right? And then Joshua made a covenant with them, and then Saul, David breaks it. Like it's like a battle back and forth between them and these peace treaties. That's what I think it's discussing. It doesn't have anything to do with Jesus. Um, that's what I think.
Okay. All right, let's read.
All right. All righty, here we go. All right. And then there are other things in here that I noticed too. But
Okay.
now there was a famine in the land, besides the former famine that had occurred in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Gerar, to King Abimelech of the Philistines. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Settle in the land that I shall show you. Reside in this land as an alien, and I will be with you and will bless you. For to you and to your descendants I will give all these lands, and I will fulfill the oath that I swore to your father Abraham. I will make your offspring as numerous as the stars of heaven, and will give to your offspring all these lands, and all the nations of the earth shall gain blessings for themselves through your offspring, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws." I feel like God broke that promise. That, like, literally, if that is the case, shouldn't everybody just be blessed because Abraham did the thing?
Yes.
Yeah, he already broke that promise. And then they're gonna say free will. But okay. Um, so Isaac settled in Gerar. When the men of the place asked him about his wife, he said, "She is my sister." The pimping business again. For
Yeah.
he was afraid to say my wife, thinking, or else the men of the place might kill me for the sake of Rebekah, because she is attractive in appearance. When Isaac had been there a long time, King Abimelech of the Philistines looked out of a window and saw him fondling his wife Rebekah. So Abimelech called for Isaac and said, "So she is your wife. Why then did you say she is my sister?" Isaac said to him, "Because I thought I might die because of her." Abimelech said, "What is this you have done to us? One of the people might easily have lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us." So Abimelech warned all the people, saying, "Whoever touches this man or his wife shall be put to death." That's weird. Isaac sowed seed in that land, and in the same year reaped a hundredfold. The Lord blessed
Wow.
him. Huh?
Wow.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like he's been there a long time. Abimelech takes Rebecca as a wife, but he hasn't touched her. And then he looks out the window and he sees Isaac messing with the wife that he bought. That well, I hate saying it that way because that's what happened. And he
Yeah.
ain't mad. Like he don't get mad. He like, oh, take your wife back. Let me bless you. Let me let you live in the land and bless. Like what? Does this make any sense?
No. No. Not at all. Not at all. And it's a duplicate. I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is literally word for word what happened in the last story.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Abraham. This is why I say I think it has to do with Genesis 3:15.
Okay.
Okay. Isaac sowed seed in that land, and in the same year reaped a hundredfold. The Lord blessed him, and the man became rich. He prospered more and more until he became very wealthy. He had possessions of flocks and herds and a great household, so that the Philistines envied him. Now the Philistines had stopped up and filled with earth all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the days of his father Abraham. This doesn't make any sense. Now, I know that whenever they put stuff in parentheses, that's the narrator note, adding their own perspective to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would Philistines, who also need water, right?
Block up wells.
Exactly, just because Abraham died.
Yeah. It wasn't smart, but hey,
It
got
makes no
got to
sense.
make some controversy some kind of way.
Thank you. And then Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us. You have become too powerful for us." Oh my God. It's how like a third grader wrote this. So Isaac departed from there and camped in the Wadi Gerar and settled there. Isaac dug again the wells of water that had been dug in the days of his father Abraham, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham, and he gave them the names that his father had given them. But when Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found there a well of spring water, the herders of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herders, saying, "The water is ours." So he called the well Esek, because they contended with him. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that one. So he called it Sitnah. Now, this one right here, which means enmity, right?
Okay.
Esek means contention.
Okay.
Right, and so these two, like the whole well thing with the Israelites, right, Jacob's well, and then they're in Abraham's story, they're fighting over a well that
Hmm.
Abraham dug, right, and then here uh they're fighting and contending over this well as well. He moved there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called it Rehoboth, saying, "Now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." And this just means broader room,
Yeah.
right? Okay. For there he went up to Beersheba, and that very night the Lord appeared to him and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham." Now, what? Let's can we like I wish we had the hold up. Didn't he talk? Didn't he appear to him here? Right
Yes.
here?
Yes. Then they already had this fight. No, not yet.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Huh?
they already had this fight.
So
Yeah.
now he's here saying, "I am the father
I'm the God of
of
your
your
father.
I'm the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you, and I and will bless you and make your offspring numerous." This is where the JEDP. Am I saying it right? J what?
JPD or J.
JEPD.
You hear it either way sometimes.
Okay. So this is where the duplicate comes in this story.
Yeah,
Well, although we know that Abraham's story is also a duplicate,
yeah,
um, and then this is uh, a duplicate mixed in the same story. Like, are
yeah.
they called something different when they are like a?
No, it's just another duplicate. It's just a redacted duplicate, right? So you looking at a redaction, right? So basically, this story exists already, or at least the pieces of this story exist already. One piece is from the Abraham blessing. The one piece is from the Egyptian king, right? Or the Pharaoh, I guess we call it the Egyptian king now. The Egyptian king with Sarah, then the Abimelech with Sarah, and then this is technically the third time we heard that story,
Yep.
right? The whales are a redaction because you're trying to figure out who built the whale, right?
Hmm.
And on the one hand, it's like, oh, no. Abraham made the whale. No. They plugged it back up, then he dug them again, right? You run into that kind of in the Quran too when they ask who built the Kaaba. The
Is a
God built the
Kaaba the
Kaaba.
whale? Is that a whale too? Or
Now the Kaaba is a shrine.
oh, okay.
Yeah, the God built the Kaaba, the Adam built the Kaaba, right? There's a whole bunch of different versions of who built the Kaaba, right? Same Kaaba, but you just kind of redact a bunch of different versions of that story. So you never really know who built the Kaaba. The Abraham did
Ah.
these wells, the Isaac did, I mean, Jacob did these wells, who built them?
So in Islam, it's not a well; it's a shrine that they're fighting over, and then
Yeah, who built, yeah. It's not, they're not fighting over it. It just gets built like 4 times.
oh, I mean, you know what I mean. So like, are
Yeah.
they building the shrine on somebody else's land?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay,
No.
okay. Um, all right. Let's see. Okay. So hold on. Where do we stop? Oh, and that very night, the Lord appeared to him and said, I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you and will bless you and make your offspring numerous for my servant Abraham's sake. So he built an altar there, called on the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants dug a well. So there he dug a well here, pitched his tent here in Beersheba, right? Where didn't his father pitch an altar in Beersheba as well.
Yeah.
In Abraham. Okay. And then so there he dug a well. And the concept of them digging a well is them kind of like a dog peeing on his
On a tree.
territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these wells is like them laying claim to this land right before Joshua and even came in. Like this is what's so funny, right? Because you have these covenants being made with the Philistines, with the Canaanites prior to um the Joshua going in there and destroying all of them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
at one point they were creating these peace treaties. They were nice to them. They was like, come live in my land. It almost as if they were like, oh, they let them live there they, as foreigners. They let them lay claim to it as foreigners. And this is the God's way, right, of working the promise.
Right. Because just a minute ago, Abimelech was like the greatest human being of all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me. And the way they do it with like dishonesty and deception, right?
Yeah.
It says, Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar with Ahuzah, his advisor, and Phicol, the commander of his army. Isaac said to them, Why have you come to see me, seeing that you hate me and have sent me away from you? They said, We see plainly that the Lord has been with you. So we say, Let there be an oath between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you so that you will do us no harm, just as we have not touched you and have done to you nothing but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now the blessed of the Lord. So he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. In the morning they rose early and exchanged oaths, and Isaac set them on their way, and they departed from him in peace. That same day, Isaac's servants came and told him about the well that they had dug, and said to him, We have found water. He called it Sheba. Therefore, the name of the city is Beer Sheba to this day. And Sheba means oath.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when Esau was, this just jumps to like Esau's the problem of all things. When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Beri. the Hittite, and Basemath, daughter of Elon the Hittite, and they made life bitter for Isaac and Jacob. Like, that's it.
They just made life better.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay.
But so okay, so what do you think about the Genesis 3:15 when he says that I will make enmity between thy seed and the woman's seed, um and that being symbolic, because we know when this was written, right? Like we
Right.
know. So do you think the author had the that thought in mind, like with the Philistines and the Israelites and their peace treaties and like the fight over their land? And you think that's what it was? What it's symbolic for?
It could have been. The sometimes when I read about like these kinds of shadows, and I say this, I'm trying to say this like as carefully as I can. I can see how a scholar might draw this comparison because you do have that same enmity, you do have that same contention that you would be getting from Genesis 3:16. I just hate to say what's on a person's mind,
Yeah,
right?
just a theory.
But yeah. But in theory, this could be a callback to that. Yeah.
Yeah, because like when what I don't see is Christians saying that how Christians are tying it to Jesus, right? But
Just because
after,
it's a seed,
huh?
they just tied it to the seed. It's any kind of seed.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
like I see what they did. I don't see that it makes sense,
Yeah.
right? And so like we know that the whales are a metaphor for the covenants, right?
Yeah.
Abraham made a covenant with Abimelech and the Philistines. Then Isaac makes a covenant with them, and then both of these covenants get broken,
Yes.
right? Um, and there is this wrestling back and forth between the Philistines and the Israelites.
Right.
And so I think the seed is about the Israelites, I think, or humankind. It may just be humankind. I don't know. But I think it's symbolic. It makes sense. Let me say it this way. For it to be symbolic for not even just humankind, for it to be symbolic for the Israelites against the Philistines. And I think it's symbolic for saying that the Philistines are the children of the devil
Okay.
or the children of the serpent. Not necessarily the devil, but the children of the serpent, which represents evil to them, the thing that goes against their God, right? Like, and then if you take into consideration, right, Canaan and Egypt and all of these Gentile nations, they were big nations, right?
Yes.
They were urban centers, and I even think that Judah was talking about Israel too, Ephraim. Like I think that they are even included in that to be considered the seed of the evil, because progress and civilization, I think, equaled evil to them.
Yes. That's for
And
sure.
yeah. And so I think it's representative of that, because they go into Abraham and Isaac go into these Philistine lands, one that did not exist at this time. They
Right.
were not even, but that's what the story says. Like they go into these lands, and they're wealthy lands, right?
Yeah.
They're plentiful. They're aliens in these lands, and it's like, oh, they were so nice to them. They just let them live there, and while they lived there, they became wealthy. They became so wealthy that they despised them and got jealous of them and had to put them out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. From
But it,
from their simple like farming and gathering, right? Like that.
Mhm,
You see that big dichotomy between like the simple, country folk versus like big city living, right? And
yeah,
so, Jacob was just out there tending his flocks and, and planting his grains and whatever, and blew up, right? And they realized, oh man, this country boy that came in here and blew up. And then they get mad with him and put him out. And so you see that kind of enmity throughout the whole Old Testament for sure. Well, really even into the New Testament. You see that kind of enmity of like, hey, we just country folk, we just out here being blessed from the land, yada yada yada. God is doing this for us because he, I planted one field, it came up 100-fold. Like that's crazy. What's 100-fold? Like that's crazy.
exactly.
Yeah.
And like, and then like when you think about the stopping of the whales, like them trying to say that, Abimelech's uh, people, his sheep herders, intentionally stopped up the wells so that anybody coming along after Abraham wouldn't be able to have water, which is a life source. So it's kind of like taking their life source away.
Yeah.
And then to me, it also, by them saying that they were the ones who dug the wells, it's also saying that they are the life source, or they provided the life source, right?
Yeah.
Like in Philistine, they didn't have water, like wells already dug,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
but they
Like, how was
literally
they
did.
drinking water?
They were famous for that though, right? Like
Yes.
they were known for that. And
Yes.
so in this story, they're taking the credit for the wells, like for the invention of the wells, right? In this story, like Abraham dug the well,
Mm-hmm.
and then
One of
they
them he bought, right? Well, he bought one, but he right. Didn't he buy one before he died?
I thought his people made it. I thought they dug it. Hold on, let's see. And that was last week. Genesis 25.
Was it 25? Did he buy a
Mm.
piece of land?
He
What?
bought a piece of land to bury Rebecca.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's what it was. He bought a piece of land. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
But he dug a well and they got to fighting. They got to fighting over it. Um,
yeah.
Let me see. I can't remember where Abraham and the bit. There you go. Okay. When Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. No, they seized it.
Oh, okay.
They took it from somebody. I do not know who has done this. You did not tell me, and I have not heard of it until this day. So Abraham took sheep. Wait. Abimelech, complain. Abimelech's people seized it at the time. At that time, Abimelech with Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, like, why is Phicol and Abimelech still the same age now? Like, Abraham's dead, Rebecca's dead, Isaac's ass is like 60 because Esau
Grown.
is 40. Like, why is Abimelech and Phicol still alive and commanding the army? And like, you, how?
Yeah. Yeah. They still around.
See, God is with you in all that you do. Now, therefore, swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me or with my offspring. I have dealt with loyally with you. What embodiment complaint? Like it doesn't even say that Abraham dug the well. It just says Abimelech seized the well from Abraham, and then but it doesn't say where this well came from.
Okay.
And then, so Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant. Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs of the flock, and Abimelech said to Abraham, "What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs that you have set apart?" He said, "These 7 ewe lambs you shall accept from my hand, in order that you may be a witness for me that I dug this well."
Oh, he dug it.
Oh, okay. So he did dig. He did
Or at least he's
dig it.
saying he dug it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Therefore, that place was called Beersheba,
Okay.
because they're both of them swore an oath. When they had made a covenant at Beersheba, Abimelech with Phicol, the commander of his army, left and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba. That's what I was thinking. Remember, I was asking, like, what's the whole point of the
Time is
tamarisk tree?
right.
It's the covenant,
Okay.
and that's why I honestly think that whole enmity between thy seed and her seed,
Okay.
it's the fight over the land between the Israelites and the Philistines.
Okay.
That's what I think it is. Like
Okay.
in these covenants going back and forth, like it's showing the enmity, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
it says, "She shall, you shall bite her heels and his heels, and he
He'll
shall
bruise your
crush
head.
your head, right, or bruise
Right.
your head." And that's them finally taking the promised land, I think.
Okay. I
Because
see.
the cursing of the ground, right? Like we can see that there is like uh evolution in that story, or going from like going into civilization and agriculture, right? The ground gets cursed and they move to Cain and Abel. Cain presents to this God things that are not natural, right? Not that things that are more evolved. um uh what word am I looking for when you create something? Shit.
Mm.
Mm, it starts with an I. Inventions.
Okay.
Shit. Why couldn't I think
Okay.
of inventions?
Okay.
He invents different things, right, with his stuff. Um, and that's not pleasing to the God. Like he's like, oh, okay, that's cool, right? It's
Hmm.
advanced. You did, but that's not what I asked for. Abel brought me the best of his flock,
Right.
right? He brought me natural things from the earth that I like because that's pastoralist, right?
Hmm.
You try to do too much. You're more advanced. So as God doesn't like you, right? But
Yeah.
He
You're
loves
doing too much.
us.
Yeah.
I just feel like that. I don't know why, but I can. It's almost as if I could see the whole picture, and it's like a lot in my head, and I need somebody to help me, like, condense it down.
No, no, but there's definitely the argument of the advanced cultures versus the simpler cultures. That's right. Like it's almost like a rewrite, a backwards telling of the Inky story, right? The Odyssey. Is it the Odyssey? Yeah, the Odyssey. No, 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 that's Homer's Odyssey. What's the story? It's not there no more. Oh my God.
There's a story with Inky like this.
Yes. Well, he leaves home, and it's almost the exact opposite. Like he leaves home. Oh my God, why is my brain doing this? He leaves the big city and goes out to the country, and then he goes, "Nope, this is not where I need to be. I need to go back to the city because that's the place." Um, my goodness, what's the name of this story? The first creation story. Hold on one second. The Sumerian creation story.
Yeah, let me know because then now I got to study that and see if I can find comparisons. What's up, Lisa? What's up, Open Book?
Uh,
Hello.
what is this called? What is
I was
this
trying to say
called?
hello, LO. So I said hello, so.
Hello.
Hello, so.
What is the name of this story? I'm looking. It's right here. Um, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Oh my God.
I don't know why I was getting ready to say that, and I was like, no, he can't be talking about the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh leaves the big city and go out to the country. And then he's like,
Oh,
nope,
okay.
city living is better. Right? Let me go back to the city. Like it's much better in the city. Right. But he was going out there trying to learn stuff. Right. Remember, that's how he learned how to have sex and all that stuff
But
out
I
in the
thought it
country.
was the city that sent him, that told him to go, like, sit down and drink beer, eat meat, and he was like, "Oh, I like that." This because that's where he became a. He knew he was a man because at first he thought he was an animal because he lived in the country, right?
Yes. But then he returned to the city because the city was better.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then the this one is kind of the other way around. It's like, no, 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 country living is better. Right.
Oh, okay. I get it. I
Right.
okay.
So it's kind of like an undo of the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Do you think we still? Do you think there's still that battle of country living versus urbanization in the world? Do you think that there are people that are still going at it about, like, hey, country living is better versus
Hell yeah.
really?
Hell yeah.
Do you think it's at a point where it causes wars?
Hell yeah. That's what we're living through right now. I
That's
mean,
what
not
we're living
necessarily
through.
wars, but when you think about how we vote right now,
Hmm.
right? Like you can definitely see where urban centers are, they vote a certain way. Where
Okay.
country folk live, they vote a certain way. Right. And it's wild contentious between again, you go where there are big cities, the big cities vote a certain way. I don't want to get too deep into that, but bigger cities vote a certain way. And the big cities, they're gonna have the best education and they're gonna have the best incomes and they're gonna have the best this and that and the third. And then the country folk go, nope, that's not the way you do it. Right? Tear all that down. We need to do it this way. Because this is how I do it where I'm from.
Okay.
Right. And right, so that's still a part of that's not even in like the Israelite Palestine battle. I mean, that's because that's not the battle there. But just specifically in American life, right? Like there's a big um, well, we might call it Republicans or Democrats, or we might call it city folk and country folk, or whatever, whatever. But there's this huge, um, there's this huge idea, this huge fight between like what's the way to live? Do we live like the folk in the country? Do we live like the folk in the city?
Okay. I get it now. Okay. Huh. And then so okay, so then the way that I feel like this war between what they call good and evil in the garden, right? Which is really a war between from the eyes of the Israelites, it's a war between the Israelites and the Philistines.
Yeah,
For us, it would be not necessarily a war, but well, you could call it that between conservatism and liberalism.
liberalism. Yeah,
Yeah. And
or or like this whole idea. Like I bring to people's mind all the time. The whole reason that the Southern Baptist Convention exists was to maintain Southern living,
mhm.
right? Specifically slavery in Southern living, right? And from that is where you get all your evangelicals and all of your IFBs and NIFBs and what do you call it? International Fundamental Baptist and New International Fundamental Baptist. There are a lot of these churches that kind of spring up out of that, and they're fighting for things like teaching creationism in school and tearing down the Department of Education and like country folk, right? Just this is how we live and this is the way it ought to be done, right? And then you got other folk fighting to kind of push things forward, right? So it's progressives and conservatives.
And so the North would have been more progressive
More
than
progressive.
the South.
Mm.
And so the North would have been more liberal. And is that where the the temples were for the where uh the the people who were considered transgender back then, and
No, no, they was in Jerusalem.
they were in Jerusalem?
The temple was in Jerusalem. And that was a part of the shtick, is that the temple was in Jerusalem, right?
But
So
but was it on the was it on the edge of it was on the edge between the north and the south, like right on the edge? Is that where it was, or was it
I don't
in
know.
Jerusalem?
It was in the temple is in. I know it's in Jerusalem. But I don't know if it like where in Jerusalem it says. So don't let me lie to you there. But I
I
like
know there was a temple that they kind of like fought over because it was like right like on the edge, and I was wondering like so who was okay with the LGBTQ, who was against it? Was it the North that was against it? Because they were more pagan. They had more pagan beliefs than the South.
yeah.
So
I
like
think that gets really blurry. Keep in mind like the sometimes when we like how am I trying to say this? Southern folk, a person born in the South may have some Southern traditions, right? Like, I'm gonna use me for example. I'm born and raised in Alabama, right? Born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama.
mhm,
I am quite a progressive, right? But I'm still quite Southern, right?
mhm.
I fit in better when I go to other places because I am more progressive than some of my other friends. You get what I'm saying? But that don't mean I'm not Southern,
Mhm.
right? And that's true even here. So sometimes we like the temple that they were fighting over was definitely in Jerusalem, right? That whole story about the Sodomites that were next to the temple, that temple was definitely in Jerusalem, right? And the kings of Judah had kind of gotten softer on that over time,
Okay.
right? That's when you get to Josiah and they go, no, this is the way we do it, right? But the kings of Judah had grown really soft about that. Man, keep in mind that's what Solomon was. That's what David was. That's where Ahab was. That's where um, um,
Wait, Ahab was in the north though, right? Right?
maybe I didn't. Maybe I said Ahab. Maybe that was the wrong person. No, I'm thinking about Omri was in the north too. No, no, no. Ahaz. Ahaz.
Oh, I thought you said Ahab. Okay.
Yeah, I did say Ahab, but now I was wrong. Ahaz.
Okay.
Ahaz.
But
But that's where Ahaz was.
wasn't it the north who wrote that it was an abomination? Like I mean not the north, it was the south. Like the
Yeah,
south Judah wrote the
yeah,
Torah, right?
yeah,
The majority of it. Like there are some that came from the north, but the majority of it is Judah,
yeah,
specifically Genesis, right? And Exodus is Judah. And
yeah,
so like they're the ones that's responsible for that, right?
yeah.
And so it just makes me wonder if the like knowing that the north was more progressive because the north had way more wealth
That's how.
than the south. They had way
Mm,
more people who could read, like they were educated. They had taller they had, like better agriculture, not agriculture, architectural.
Mm-hmm.
Their palaces were larger
Mm-hmm.
and nicer. And then in the South, they didn't have all that. Like the people were illiterate,
That's true. But
right?
the kings of Judah, again, Ahaz. If you go and read through Josiah's conquest, was that the Second Kings? It'll list a ton of kings of Judah and all the abominations that they had done.
Hmm.
Right, all of the things that they had built to other gods, all of the temple prostitutes that they had, and all the stuff that they had given to Baal and yada yada yada. So a lot of the kings, keep in mind, but they was, the kings had access to things. And they'd be like, nope, you're not supposed to do it that way, right? So when Josiah comes in, he's trying to restore this old school way of doing it in Judah. Old school. Things.
And I guess that's the thing that confuses me, because it was the South that were more Yahwehist, right?
Yes,
They were already Yahwehist.
except the
And
kings.
so, yeah.
The kings that they basically said wasn't doing it right is because they were more Elohist.
Oh, but okay, you're saying the kings were the ones that were not Yahwehist, but the people in the
A
land
lot of
were.
the people were, yeah. A
But
lot of people were.
okay. And so was it so who were the people following to be Yahweh as why their kings were not? Because didn't weren't the people supposed to follow what their kings follow?
Well, they might have been following the priests. They could have been
Okay,
following the
so the
prophets.
priest.
Yeah, they could
Okay.
have been following the prophets. And keep in mind, like we use these terms. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. We use these terms kind of like we use the term species,
Hmm.
right? But species blur, right? Like we can tell the difference between a lion and a tiger, but lions and tigers can still mate. So they're not that far off, right? Same thing is true when it comes to theologies or religions or any kind of I guess I use the term worldview. Like, okay, Jeremiah was definitely a Yahwist, definitely, right? But and Isaiah was in Judah for sure, right? Because he was talking to Ahaz, king of Judah. He lived in Judah, but he was more of an Elohist.
Oh,
Right?
Jeremiah?
Isaiah,
Oh,
right? Yeah, Jeremiah was definitely a Yahwist,
yeah. Okay. You said
definitely
so. You said Isaiah was an Eloist.
more of an Elohist.
What makes you say that?
Well, because keep in mind when he's talking to Ahaz. Okay, all right. So two pieces of this. When he goes up and talks to Ahaz in Isaiah chapter 7, he basically comes and says, hey, the north is going to come against you, but they won't prevail against you, right? And this is how you know. That's when they give you the whole prophecy about the young woman, we're going to have a child and yada, 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 right? All right. Well, if you go into Josiah's reform,
Hmm.
you'll see that Ahaz had built altars to other gods. And Isaiah not one time told him not to do that. And Isaiah uses the Lord of hosts a lot, right?
Okay.
He talks about the Shavuot a lot, right? So he's very aware of the multitude of gods, right? And he's not mad with them. He's very aware of the multitude of gods,
Okay.
right? He never tells Isaiah don't say nothing about them sodomites. Isaiah don't say nothing about them other gods they worshiping. Isaiah don't say none of that, right? Jeremiah though, get that shit out of here.
Would this have been because could it be that because Isaiah was written during the time of the Babylonian exile, that he would be considering the Babylonian god?
Fair enough. Fair enough. I can totally see it that way, right? But the idea of again when Josiah's reform is kind of one of the key linchpins to the whole story to me because when you read you find out what all those kings of Judah were doing that involved other gods.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
And they give you this whole list of like, oh, and such built this to Chemosh, and such built this to Baal, and then they had this for the sun and the moon, and then they had these things, and these were all kings that had built on stuff. And these were all Judean kings they had built on stuff, right? So the kings of Judah, right? As a matter of fact, it's so crazy that like specifically the story of Ahaz. On the one hand, you got Isaiah saying they're not going to prevail against you, but when the Yahwehs get to writing Chronicles, boy, they give Ahaz the business.
Yeah.
They run Ahaz up a wall. Right? But Isaiah didn't say none of that about Ahaz, and Kings didn't say nothing like that about Ahaz. But when Chronicles get their hands on him, oh, they tell he was wicked. He did everything he did was wrong. And that's why blah 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 blah.
And so are the chroniclers from the north? Would they
I think
be
it's out.
northern? So they're from the south and they're okay. And so they're talking about the wickedness of their own kings to kind of
Yeah.
like show why. Okay.
Yeah. This is why we're going through the shit we're going through, because he didn't do right.
Okay.
Right. He didn't stick to what Yahweh told him.
Okay. That makes
Right.
sense.
Right.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, that's something that I want to like explore. So okay, just a little bit more about the enmity thing. Enmity.
Enmity. Yeah.
Enmity. um is okay. So bringing in the concept of their dishonesty, right? Um if the Israelites had to be dishonest when they're dealing with the Philistines to take their land, right? Like, I mean, to live in their land, they had to lie about their wives, both Abraham and Isaac, right? So they entered this contention already with dishonesty. So I would think that they would be the cause of the contention, and that looking at it, because you know how I think that everything in that book is backwards, and like believers tend to see things backwards.
Mm-hmm.
If we flip it around, then the start of the contention would be the Israelites, because they go into, like, even with Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Like they go into other people's land,
Mm-hmm.
right? As foreigners, expect those. Yeah, they expect the indigenous in those lands to treat them, to welcome them, and to treat them as if they're native to the land, share their resources with them, and if they don't, then how evil of you. And then they end up either coming in, taking over it, or destroying it,
Yep.
right? So whenever they deal with these lands, they deal with them from a dishonest place,
At least it's our
right?
story running. Yeah.
Yeah. And like even down to the wells, like they dug, they put their mark on land that they did not own, and then refused to share it with the people who lived there, and then dealt dishonestly with that. Then they created these covenants, these peace treaties, and said, "Oh, we'll be like," they kind of tricked the king, right, the indigenous people there, into going into these treaties with them, and then they broke the treaties
The break.
themselves. Like the treaties were
Yeah.
temporary.
Yeah.
And so I would literally see, like, because Abimelech, because the Philistines, like in each category, in each one, the Philistines or the Canaanites were the hospitable ones. Like they
Mm-hmm.
allowed them to come in and live amongst them until they wanted more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then the woman seed would be the Abimelechs to me, and then the serpent seed or the evil thing would be the Israelites. And
In your estimation, I can respect it.
yeah. So I think a person could look at this it depends on how you see good and bad, right and wrong, up and down, black. It
Yeah.
depends on how you see that, I think.
Yeah. 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 Because now you're just kind of retrofitting words, right? Like if you look later on in the story, you go, okay, I see that this way, right? But you can definitely tell that the narrative was supposed to be the other way, right? I'm trying to
Mhm.
show it to you that we the good guys here,
Mhm.
and they did this, they did such and such. But you pay close enough attention, you can see, oh well, wait, you did this, right? But the point of the story is to nationalize Israel. right?
Hmm.
To make Israel the good guys and the victim in this situation.
Which is typically what you get when you have a story told from one side, right?
Right, right, definitely. That's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Any other thoughts about that you think I should be considering? Because I'm
Uh,
gonna look into it, see if
Look into
any other
Josiah's
scholar ever
reform
thought
again.
about
Look,
it.
yeah, read the story of Josiah. I think that was that Second Kings 22 or 23 or something like that. Reading the Josiah's reform again. Look at all the kings and look at the stuff that they built, and see how Josiah was like, oh, we got to change all that, right? We
Okay.
need to go back to doing it this way. And all those kings were southern kings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was the North, and the North was gone by then, right? They had
The
already
North
been dispersed out.
was, I don't know. Let me look at that. Let me not say. I don't want to get that wrong. I
Because
think
like
the North was gone.
Israel Finkelstein, in his book, he says that the 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 conquest of Canaan is just a mythology of
Of
what King
Josiah's reform.
Josiah would have been, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that the Josiah reforms is more about religious reforming instead of
Yeah.
like conquering the nations. And
Yes.
so Joshua is like the mythical character
That represents Josiah.
that represents Josiah
Yeah.
had they actually like conquered all of these lands.
Yeah. 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 I can see that for sure.
And they
Um.
said like it represents him taking the influence over the northern lands that Judah felt like they were rightful heirs to.
Yeah.
And so I wonder like if they were already dispersed by the time of
Yeah. I
Josiah's
don't
reform.
remember if they was already dispersed though. I'll look into that, but I don't know. I'm not sure of that,
Okay.
but I'll look into it.
All right. That
All
sounds
right,
good.
man. Good times, man.
This was fun.
This was
It's a
fun.
good
This was fun.
conversation. All right.
Absolutely.
And I think next week we should start like taking questions from the audience or something.
Okay. Let's pull that in.
Okay.
Let's put it in.
Autistic said Assyria came in at 722 BCE.
So that
So
was around.
that's when they were dispersed
On
at
the,
during the 722 BCE.
okay. All
So
right.
Josiah's reforms happened.
Right after that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it happened before they went to the Babylonian exile,
Okay.
right?
I tend to get these times. For some reason, like the timeline of this gets so blurry to me. But I can see that. That doesn't seem far fetched.
Yeah, it makes sense. But I'm a keep looking at that, double checking myself so I make sure I make sense. But I love reading this stuff because it kind of feels like a like I said a scavenger hunt, but at the same time, like coupling it with legal codes and stuff like that and what they could and couldn't do at the time, like it almost feels like a court case to me.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all tonight on live. You going live today?
I may go live for a brief minute. I want to play some music again because I am in love.
With this album.
Absolutely.
When does it
Absolutely.
drop?
I don't know when I'm dropping yet because I'm still trying to. I got a couple meetings coming up to see how I'm going to drop it. Like if I'm
Okay.
going to partner with somebody and blah 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 blah. But musically, I am in love, so I'll probably do a little chat about that.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I will see y'all on live later tonight, 11 p.m. Central. Don't forget to hit the share button, comment on the videos. If you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button.
Hit the
Until
subscribe.
next time, y'all, and thank y'all so much for 915, 85 away from 1,000.
Let's get these 85 so we can monetize you guys, man. We doing this literally as a labor of love, but I do love it. Don't get me twisted. I'm enjoying every moment of it. But let's get up so we can go ahead and get this monetized and start to build the thing so that we can make this platform as cool as the Line or as the other atheist platforms. There are not a whole lot of black atheist platforms that get a chance to play with the big boys, right?
Yeah.
And I want to have the Josh Bowens on this channel, and I want to have the Kip Davises and get some people to come in and chat with us. And the way that we do this, we have to make enough noise doing these little things. So I definitely want to say thank you guys so much for subscribing, and let's continue to get these numbers up. And thank you.
Thank you. Until
All
next
right,
time.
all right, you'll be good.
Bye.